Hello guys, how are you? So today I want to talk about JWT. So by all means, first of all, disclaimer, I am not gonna advising this to use in production. I'm just showing you how it works and for educational purpose only. So JWT መጠቀም ከፈለጋችሁ there is a lot of already framework የተሰሩ based on that Django ላይ especially ስላሉ use those things by all means. So let's get right into it for now. Here I have two endpoints. Both endpoints will give me like 200 profile page. So first of all, let's make it login page corner address request.method request.method.lower not equal to post, then return http response. Method not allowed. So here if I did the same, method not allowed ይሰጠኛል. So now let's grab the username and the password. Username is equals to password is equals to this one. So now we have the password and the username. So what we are gonna do is like we fetch the user by using the username first. If that user don't exist, if user not exist, invalid password or username ይለናል. So let's just test it. Let's change the post here. 403, yes. So one thing I want to show you is like there is gonna be a CSRF failure since we are not sending CSRF tokens at first here. So laza what we are gonna do is like we exempt that. Like we have to send CSRF. You can read about it or we can talk about it later. But CSRF ማለት post request ስትልኩ there is a token that server የሚሰጣችሁ, so you have to respond that. So since we don't have that one, we just want to use the API, we will exempt that and we'll try again. So now it's 200, so which means like the password and the username that I sent is working fine. So let's just see the body first. So the username and the password is Chappy and Chappy, so that means the user existed and we didn't check the password. So now let's check the password. To check the password, user.check password, then password ብለን መስጠት እንችላለን. So once we did that, we can return JSON note ልበለውና እዚህ ጋር since we just want to cut it short here. So now let's change this maybe 1. So there is እንደምታዩት username እና password invalid ነው ይለኛል. So now if I change back this, I will get the successful login page. Now it's working fine. So now we already authenticated. It's extremely easy. Now what we need is like we need to create a token. So to create a token, it's extremely easy. Let's just create a function, create token, then maybe username ብቻ እንቀበልና ከዛም በኋላ payload user, that's it. So we'll just make the expiration date to 1 day, or we can make an hour to 1 hour. This expire in an hour. We'll test it like a lower organ, then JWT token is equals to with H2N 200 HS 256 naragina will return the token. So here we can do this. Data is equals to token is equals to create token. So and maybe status blan status okay status okay. So we can just return this thing እዚህ ጋር እናመጣውና so data እንለዋለን. Now we can test back and we'll get the token and the status itself. Now we have the token. So let's just talk about a little bit about this token. So this token እንደምታዩት there is dot separation. So እንደምታዩት there is 3 parts. የመጀመሪያው part in every JSON JWT there is algorithm እና type 1 ወይም ደግሞ the information that we used in the JWT itself. So the algorithm እና እንትን ይኖረዋል ማለት ነው. So we can test this base 64 decode base 64 come on base 64 decode ላይ እንሄድና let's decode it here. ይሄንን ዲኮድ ስትሉት እንደምታዩት ይሄንን የሰጠኝ which means hs25 ነው የተጠቀምነው ምናምን የሚለውን ሄደር እንለዋለን ይሄንን ፓርት which is the first part. So let's just put a name to it. የሚቀጥለው ደግሞ ፔሎድ እንለዋለን። ፔሎዱ ምንድነው? እዚህ ጋር የሰጠነውን ፔሎድ በቤስ 64 ነው ያደረገው like there is nothing to it but that's base 64 ብቻ ነው የሆነው. So let's just decode this one also. እንደምታዩት ዲኮዱም ሁለተኛው ዩዘርኔም ቻፒ ከዛ ኤክስፓይሬሽን ዴት ሞ ይሄን ያህል with timestamp. So there is nothing to it still, right? So we just have the token. The next part is not base 64, it's actually the hash of this data using this algorithm and one secret value. So what's that secret? You can say the secret is the secret key we are using currently. A Django secret key ነው ግን like we will change this one. So what's the authentication method ካላችሁኝ እዚህ ጋር so what we are gonna do is anyone can have this data. I know like if they have this data they are gonna be hacked ምናምን ግን from the backend perspective we don't have to fetch the user or the session data because we can just take what the user gave us and we can try to hash this value ይሄኛውን we can just decode it ወደዚህኛው እንደምታዩት ወደ ፔሎዱን ቀይረውና እነዚህኞቹን with secret value hash እናረጋቸዋለን using this algorithm ይሄኛውን which means like hash this one hash the payload with secret and you will get the signature number, yeah, which means this one is a signature. We can replace it here and now ይሄ ከተሳካ this means the user is authenticated. Why is this authentication is very strong? ምንድነው like anyone can do anything ግን like regardless of this data if they change this we will know it. ለምሳሌ አሁን እኔ ይሄኛውን ከቀየርኩት vj የሚለውን ነገር ከቀየርኩትና ይሄንን ከሰጣው when I try to generate this data not from the user ግን based on the above two line I will not get the same data that the user provided. So if the user only provide the same data we will authenticate them ማለት ነው. So it's actually very extremely easy but very strong authentication method. So what we need is the next thing we will just add like maybe couple of stuff we can add it here or we can change this for security purpose ምናምን. So let's just continue the profile page. Like now we just did the login method. Now once we get the request I don't know if you know but mostly Django ላይ እንደዚህ አይነት ዴኮሬተሮች መጠቀም ልምድ አለንና so let's just create a decorator really quick. So what we need a decorator is def out require እንበለውና ያንን ዴኮሬተር maybe parameter args or qargs parameter ያለው እንትን ዴኮሬተር እንስራ. So the next thing is decorator. Nice. Thank you very much. And let's just delete this one and validate token. So now here like we just did a decorator here and we can just add a decorator like this and እንደዚህ ብለን ዴኮሬተሩን why I'm adding this one is like I will explain in a couple of seconds but let's test the profile page itself. So I'm gonna go to the Thunder client and go to the profile page. I'll just send a request. So now token required ይለኛል because once this function being called this decorator will take care of it before going to this one ማለት ነው. So let's just add a token only without adding anything. header line ገባና authentication then wait authorization sorry. So abc እንበለው let's send it. Now it works even though this is not the right sentence. We didn't validate. So here what we need is like now we can just create one function validate token ብለን so validate token ብለን token እንሰጣለን. Then JWT they have a really good ChatGPT ጽፎልኛል so it makes my life easier. Now we can just validate the token here. So when validate token የሚያደርግልን ፔሎዱን ይመልስልናል። so payload is equals to validate token ብለን ቶከኑን መስጠት እንችላለን ከዚህኛው ጋር። so one thing if you guys notice most of the time authorization ብለው እዚህ ጋር barrier ይጠቀማሉ። barrier ብለው you can use that but I'm just skipping that part። ግን barrier ብላችሁ ከተጠቀማችሁ make sure to stripe that barrier የሚለውን እንትን እዚህ ጋር whatever you call it. so now since we have if the not the payload እንበለውና for now payload ከሌለው we will just return JSON Web Token invalid token and 401, which means like the token is not valid. so let's send it with ABC invalid token and 401 unauthorized. so now what we need is like we can just send the token we get from here. We will copy paste it here in the header part, and the request header, and we'll see. You see profile page blow መጣለን. now it's really nice and working fine. so by this point we are just done with authentication, but I just want to make sure like I just gonna add one more point here. so what if we want the user in the profile page? like ለምሳሌ profile pageአችን ውስጥ user is equals to request.user ከዛም በኋላ maybe data profile pageአቸውን user email first name maybe I don't know what else last name በቃ እና let's try to send this thing what we are gonna expect. so data, now let's go to the profile and let's send it. we have 500. the reason is ይሄኛው user it doesn't exist, so why don't we create this one? so for now we can add user የሚል እንትን ፓራሜትር ብናስገባና እቺኛይቷን add user as a keyword argument ስለላክ ነው already እዚህ ጋር if the user is authenticated, if qargs.get add user true ከሆነ add user true ከሆነ we can do filter እናረግና user nameአችንን እንደዚህ userኡ ላይ requestቱ ላይ add ማድረግ እንችላለን. the reason I added this one is some authentication endpoints doesn't require the user itself. They just need to process something, right? so you don't have to like fetch the user from database like every time. so you can just add these things whenever we want and we can add it here. ምክንያቱም like ሁሌ ወደ ዳታቤዛችን user objectውን fetch ማድረግ አይጠበቅብንም. that's why I added this as an optional. so if now we send these things we again this is I don't know what happened now. let me read this attribute. attribute error, so which means some attribute is failing. I don't think there is a I think we can just decrease some of the ziga. we can just decrease maybe the email ምናምን የሚለውን እና let's try it. I don't know what's happening though. Okay. so I think this is the issue. maybe emailን እንጨምር. I don't know if they email is the problem, I believe. so I think we'll just gonna first name እንለዋለን ግን for sure user ያለው ይመስለኛል for sure ግን I'm not sure here. so we are gonna use this one for now. first name is not available also. first name is not available. anonymous user. okay, I see the user is from anonymous user. I believe this is not being triggered if I'm not mistaken, but we can check it from here. print user. yeah, so we can add just here. I think I think the problem is the user is not like being authenticated here. so manual authentication function here has no attribute of first name. oh, first name attribute. Oh yeah, I need to say long. I don't think why is it happening here. I believe I'm just gonna add the add user here. So as a false level owner, I'll just add it, and here I believe it should work. Yeah, I think it's working fine. So there is something wrong with that, I'm not sure. So we can just add email also now, since the user have an email. Now it's fine, it's working fine here in the method. And now all I can just want to show you here is like how authentication works on the under the hood. And I think that's it for now. We can look at this kind of stuff for next. So thank you, bye bye.